Let's see. Yes, hello everybody. Hi, my YouTube channel, friends at Read to Me, Ms Tracey. Super excited to be here. It's very, very cold outside here in St. Louis, Mo. But that's okay. It's warm on the inside. And we have some friends joining us. I've got some really cool stories right now that I'm going to read today. Tinkerbell was awake. She's no longer awake. That's okay. That's okay. I have been hiccuping and burping. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, we're almost ready. Hey, everybody, who's out there? Who's out there ready for story time? Check in and let me know who's going to read with us this afternoon. I'm super excited to have you guys here. Home is currently unavailable. What are you talking about? See, this is what this is what I am talking about. Huh. All right, well, fine. I didn't want to hear the music anyway. My friend James Raleigh Pitts made some beats for us. Kind of nice, huh? So we'll just listen to that. How about that? Hey, Dana. How's it going? Are you got any little people in the audience with you? Type in their names for us, and that way we can, say hello to them as well. No problem if you don't have any, because, it's Ms Tracey. I'm not a little people. I used to be a little people, but I'm no longer little people. But that's okay. I love bringing books to life for you. And Miss Dana, if you have not done so thus far, do me a favor. Go on over to and subscribe to Read to Me, Ms Tracey at YouTube. That's also my Gmail account. Okay, without further ado, we will go ahead and do our hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Hey, everybody. It's story time. It's story time. It's story time. And there's an important event coming up in the United States of America coming up this week, where the president that we have right now, number 45, is leaving. And we have a new president coming in, and we have made history with this election. And so one of the people that the United States citizens elected, not everyone voted for this particular group, the president and the vice president. Well, the vice president is the first time there's ever been a female in that position in our country's history. Some people are excited about that. Some people not so much. But nevertheless, it is history. There's a lot of things about history that we like and we don't like. This is one of the things that Ms Tracey is excited about. Nevertheless, remains to be seen. I've been excited before. As a matter of fact, y'all, I got a little picture I want to show you. I can't take it off the wall. But Ms Tracey actually, you know what? Maybe I can post it in there. I actually got a chance to meet back in the early, let's see, it was 2008. I got a chance to go to the inauguration because I was part of the staff that helped elect Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden then. And I got to shake hands with President Obama, and I fist bumped fellow Capricorn, First Lady Michelle Obama. Really cool. And I got to shake hands with the Vice President and Second Lady in charge, Jill Biden. That was a pretty exciting time for my life. So, well, that's just about me. But nevertheless, I also got a chance to meet some other presidents back in the day, but that's way back in time. But nevertheless. So I have a lot of presidential books, right? So we did that before when we were having elections, but I found some other ones that we didn't get a chance to read, and I'm super excited to bring them to you today. All right, let's get ready to rumble and read. So the very first one on deck is Grace for President. It is written by Kelly DiPucchio and the pictures by LeUyen, Pham. I love it. Love it, love it, love it already. Okay. So now this is kind of a story about how, I guess how people are, they get elected for president. Okay, here we go. One Monday morning in September, Mrs. Barrington rolled out a big poster with all of the president's pictures on it. Grace Campbell could not believe her eyes. Where are the girls? I agree with you, Grace. That is a very good question, said Mrs. Barrington. The truth is, our country has never had a woman president. No girl president ever? Grace asked. No, I'm afraid not, said Mrs. Barrington. Grace sat at her desk and stewed. No girls. Who'd ever heard of such a crazy thing? Finally, she raised her hand. Yes, Grace. I've been thinking it over, and I'd like to be president. Several students in the class laughed. Ha! Ha ha ha! Well, I think that's a star-spangled idea, Grace, said Miss Barrington. In fact, we can have our own election right here at Woodrow Wilson Elementary. Snickering in the room stopped, and Grace smiled. Ching! Would anyone else like to run for president? Mrs. Barrington asked the class. Nobody raised their hand. Becoming president was going to be easy, Grace thought. All right, let's see if I can fix this camera a little better. I'm going to invest in a nice camera soon here, you guys. Just hold on. It's a new year, so I'm going to make it happen. The next day, Mrs. Barrington made an announcement. In the name of democracy, I have invited Mr. Waller's class to join our elections. Their class has nominated Thomas Cobb to be their presidential candidate. Grace's heart sank. Thomas was the school spelling bee champion. His experiments always took a blue ribbon at the science fair, and he was a captain of the soccer team. Becoming president wasn't going to be so easy after all, Grace thought. The teachers put the names of all 50 states and the District of Columbia into a hat. Everyone except for Grace and Thomas got to choose a state. I'm Texas, said Anthony. I'm New Hampshire, said Rose. I'm Michigan, said Robbie. What does the number 16 mean? Well, each state is assigned a number of electoral votes. That number is determined by how many people live in that state, said Mrs. Barrington. Each of you will be a representative for your state. Altogether, our country has 538 electoral votes, Mr. Waller explained. On election day, the candidate who receives 270 electoral votes or more wins the election. Why 270? Asked Rose. That's more than half of all the electoral votes, Mr. Waller said. Becoming president really wasn't going to be so easy, thought Grace. Grace came up with a campaign slogan. Make history! Vote Grace Campbell for president. Thomas came up with his own campaign slogans. Vote for Thomas Cobb, the best man for the job. Grace listened to what issues were important to the students, and she made a list of campaign promises. A peaceful school, no bullies. A cleaner school, no littering. Better hot lunches. No more fish stick tacos. Thomas made up his own list of promises. Free tutoring, free soccer lessons, fish stick tacos every week. Grace made campaign posters and buttons. Thomas made posters and buttons too. Vote for Grace. Grace for president. Make history. Vote Grace for president. Thomas is the man. Thomas for president. The man for the job is Thomas Cobb. Each week, the teachers set aside time for the candidates to meet with their constituents. Polls were taken. Voters were making their choices. He says she gave speeches. Vote for Grace. And Grace continued to campaign. During lunch, she handed out free cupcakes. Woo! She's got my vote right there. After school, she held rallies. Meanwhile, Thomas wasn't worried. He had cleverly calculated that the boys held slightly more electoral votes than the girls. At recess, Thomas studied his spelling words. During lunch, he worked on his latest science experiment. After school, he played soccer. Even before the election, Grace made good on her promises. She joined the safety squad, she organized the school beautification committee, and she volunteered her time in the school cafeteria. Special election. In early November, Woodrow Wilson Elementary hosted a special Election Day assembly. Grace and Thomas took their places on stage as the school band began to play. Henry was the first representative to approach the microphone. The Yellowhammer state of Alabama cast its non-electoral votes for Thomas Cobb, Fletcher said. The last frontier state of Alaska cast its 3 electoral votes for the best man for the job, Thomas Cobb. The Grand Canyon state of Arizona cast its 11 electoral votes for Grace Campbell, Hannah called out. And so it went. State after state after state cast their electoral votes. The scoreboard in the gymnasium kept track of the totals. The voting demonstration was quickly coming to an end. Clara approached the podium. The Badger state of Wisconsin cast its 10 votes for the My Best Friend, Grace Campbell. Grace looked at the scoreboard. Thomas had 268 electoral votes. She had 267. There was only one state still unaccounted for: Wyoming. Thomas grinned. Grace felt sick. Sam walked up to the microphone. He looked at Thomas. He looked at Grace. He looked down at Grace's handmade flag. Sam didn't say a word. "What are you waiting for?" whispered Thomas. The band stopped playing. All eyes were on Wyoming. Finally, Sam cleared his throat. The equality state of Wyoming cast its 3 electoral votes for... Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Who do you think is going to win? Grace Campbell! The gymnasium erupted in loud cheers and a few boos. Mrs. Barrington approached the podium. With 270 electoral votes, the winner is Grace Campbell. Thomas looked stunned. Grace hugged Sam. "Why did you do it?" she asked. Sam handed Grace his flag. "Because," he said, "I thought you were the best person for the job." There you go. Doesn't matter if she's a girl, necessarily. The following week, students in Mrs. Barrington's class were preparing for their career day presentations. Grace volunteered to go first. She stood at the front of the room and glanced at the poster still hanging on the wall. My name is Grace Campbell, and when I grow up, I'm going to be President of the United States. There you have it. Oh, this time, everyone believed that she would. There is a picture of Grace at Mount Rushmore, where a few of our founding presidents and a few of the other ones in history also maintained they were carved out of stone in the side of a mountain. And there's Grace's picture there. Oh, I love it, Miss Cecilia. I do have a thing with little people. I used to do this story time with children and lap babies, like your son. What's his name? With like your grandson. Tell me his name in the comment section, and I'll say hello to him. They love that. They love that. Yeah, I do too. I love when people call out my name. Anywho, so like I said, Grace made history in her class, in her school. Guess what? The United States, for the very first time, has its first female and a female of color in the White House presidential, vice presidential seat. And her name is Kamala. I said Kamala. Kamala Harris. I like Kamala. Yes. Either way, superheroes are everywhere. And this is illustrated. It's written by Kamala Harris and illustrated by Mechal Renee Rowe. Yep. And there's Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, there were superheroes everywhere in Kamala Harris's life. Can you find them in yours? Yeah. The insert of the book right here. A lot of times you can see the title of a book and who it's written by right here. But a lot of times you can tell what's going on inside the book by reading the insert. And I'll read it for you, okay? Before Kamala Harris became a lawyer and a United States Senator, she was a little girl who loved superheroes. And when she looked around, she was amazed to find them everywhere in her family, among her friends, even down the street. There were superheroes wherever she looked. And those superheroes showed her that all you need to do to be a superhero is to be the best that you can be. Hi, Alex. Hi, Granny. Hey, Granny's big boy. And those superheroes showed her that all you need to do to be a superhero is to be the best that you can be. That's right, Alex. In this empowering and joyful picture book memoir that speaks directly to kids, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris takes readers through her life and shows them that the power to make the world a better place is inside each and every one of us. So always do your best, right? Hey, big guy, Alex. Hi. Hi, Alex. Okay. Oh, look, here's some pictures of her as a little girl in her family. Yeah. That little girl grew up to be vice president, senator, and then vice president-elect. All right, here we go. There she is, a picture of her as a little girl. All right, you ready? I'm ready. Heroes make you feel special. Heroes make you feel special. It didn't take too long to find one. I noticed my mom had a magic touch. Her hugs made me feel warm, safe, and even strong. She knew I loved good food, so she taught me her secret recipes, and we'd create huge, delicious meals together for our friends and family. I even cooked some of the dishes all by myself. Pretty cool. See, Kamala, my mom would say, you can do anything if you put your heart in it and try hard. Anything in the world. My mom was a superhero because she made me feel special. She believed in me And that helped me believe I could do anything. Who makes you feel special? You can say Tracy. You can say Ms. Tracey makes you feel special. Yeah. My dad makes me feel special. And my friends too. I love it, Miss Cecilia. Thank you for sharing that. Heroes are people you can count on. My sister Maya and I did everything together. Ballet class, piano lessons, bike riding, and board games. Checkmate! I knew that if I ever needed her, she'd be there. One half of our dynamic duo. When we felt sad, my mom would throw us an unbirthday party so we'd feel better. Together, we'd eat an unbirthday cake, open unbirthday presents, and dance around the living room. Maya was always by my side. My sister was a superhero because she was someone I could count on. You know what? I just had an idea. I'm going to do this unbirthday party for a couple of friends of mine that are having a really rough time. I like that idea. I think I'm going to steal it. Who can you count on? Heroes make you feel brave. I kept searching for superheroes in other parts of my family. My dad was fearless. Whenever we were at the park, he'd let go of my hand and call out, "Run, Kamala, run!" And I'd run as far as I could for as long as I could. My dad was a superhero because he made me feel brave. Who makes you feel brave? Heroes stand up for what is right. My grandmother was one of the smartest people I've ever met. And she used her smarts and her voice to speak out for women who were being hurt and to teach them how to stay healthy. My grandfather used his voice to make India a free country. All of my grandparents in India and I in Jamaica were superheroes for standing up for what's right. Who stands up for what's right in your life? My mom, she's always battling somebody. Heroes are best friends. My best friends and I cared about each other. When I was in kindergarten, I told the boys to stop teasing one of my best friends, and another time, that best friend helped me when I fell on the playground. We all wanted to feel safe at school. My best friends were superheroes because they made one another feel safe. Who are your best friends? Learning is fun. Heroes are teachers. I loved my first grade teacher, Mrs. Wilson. She taught us about plants and flowers, sang songs with us from cultures around the world, and revealed how tadpoles turned into frogs. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Wow, that's cool. Teachers like Mrs. Wilson are superheroes because they show us the whole wide world and help us chase our dreams. Who are your favorite teachers? Do you guys have a favorite teacher? When I looked, I found a superhero right down my street. Mrs. Sheldon was our family friend and was like a second mom to me. She watched Maya and me while our mom was at work. We'd gobble up her homemade biscuits, ooh, peach cobbler, ooh, and gumbo for special occasions, and pile into her car on Sundays for church. Mrs. Sheldon treated everyone with love and respect. Heroes are kind. Heroes explore with you. Aunt Lenore and I chased fireflies and caught them in jars. Uncle Sherman taught me to play chess. Aunt Mary and I read book after book together. And Uncle Freddie took me to museums where we see dazzling artwork. My aunts and uncles, my mom's friends who were part of our family helped me to explore my world, and that made them superheroes. Who helps you explore? Even as I got older, I kept searching for superheroes. When it was time for me to go to college, I was excited to go where my Aunt Chris went to study at Howard University. My grandmother hadn't had the chance to go to college, but she encouraged her kids, my mom and my aunts and uncle, to study hard. And they did. My mom became a scientist. My uncle Balu is an economist. My aunt Sarala is a doctor. And my aunt Chini works with computers. They were superheroes because they showed me that by working hard, I could be whatever I wanted to be when I grew up. Who do you know who works hard? I know several people, including Ms Tracey. Heroes protect people. After college, I wanted to become a lawyer like some of the people I looked up to: Thurgood Marshall, Constance Baker Motley, and Charles Hamilton Houston. They fought in court because they knew that people aren't always treated equally, but should be. Like them, I wanted to make sure that the law would protect everyone. These lawyers were superheroes because they protected people by using the power of words and ideas. Who protects you? Heroes make a difference together. Once I became a lawyer and then a senator, I worked with all sorts of people to help kids. And even better, I got to know amazing kids who want to make the world a better place. And you know what I learned? I wonder what she learned. Heroes are you. Yeah, you can see your face right here in the reflection. Superheroes are everywhere you look, even inside of you. That's right. I look too, Miss Charity. Are you kind, brave, and curious? Well, yes, I am. Miss Tracey, are you a best friend? Well, yes, I am. Miss Tracey, do you share? Yes, I do. Miss Tracey, do you treat people fairly? Yes, I do. Miss Tracey, do you lend a hand when other people need help? Well, yes, I do. You're a hero by being the very best you. Now that's pretty super. Love it. The hero code. Do you want to be a superhero, Alex? It's easier than you think. The first thing to do is raise your right hand and say the words on the next page out loud. If you want to wear a cape while you do this, go right ahead. You can, but you don't have to. Okay, you guys ready? All right, raise your right hand. I'm going to keep mine holding under the book, okay? So I'll raise my left hand just to be on the safe side. I'll raise it right here. Okay. I promise to make people feel special. Okay, say it out loud with me. I promise to, make people feel special. Be someone people can count on. Be someone people can count on. Help people be brave. Help people be brave. Stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's right. Be a best friend. Be a best friend. Be a good teacher. Be a good teacher. Be kind. Explore with my friends and family. Explore with my friends and family. Study and work hard. Study and work hard. Protect people who need it. Protect people who need it. Make a difference when I can. And make a difference when I can. I promise to be the very best me I can be. That is the hero code. Thank you for taking the hero code. And this is a timeline of Vice President Kamala Harris's life. And October 20th, 1964, she's a Scorpio. She was born in Oakland, California. And January 3rd, 2017, she was sworn in to the 115th United States Congress. And we'll have to add another page to this book because now on January 20th, she will be sworn in as the United States of America Vice President. And notably, the first female vice president in history of our country. Superheroes are everywhere by Kamala Harris. And it's illustrated by Mechal, Renee, Rowe. I got this book at the I See Me bookstore, and you can too. I'm going to return it this week, so you guys can go back and grab that book. Grace for President, I got at the library. Okay. Now, I got another book that I think is kind of important, considering some things that happened at the White House. Maybe you guys were watching the news and maybe your parents talked to you a little bit about it. But this is about the actual White House, where they usually have the inauguration on the steps of the White House. And I don't know if they're going to do it now, but nevertheless, I think it's important to talk about the White House. Some of the people, the White House is where the president lives, and a lot of things happen in the White House. And it doesn't belong to the president. It's where the president and the first lady live while they are, they're doing their presidency, right? But the White House really does belong to the American citizens. It's paid with tax dollars, and it was built by citizens of the Americas, but they weren't actually citizens. They were slaves. Yeah. So the title of this book is Brick by Brick by Charles R. Smith Jr. and illustrated by Floyd Cooper. I thought this was a pretty good book to discuss, considering what was happening last week. What do you guys think? All right, the glare on my glasses. That's a little better. Okay, yeah. There we go. Doo-doo. Okay. Under a hazy, hot summer sun, many hands work together as one. The president of a new country needs a new home, so many hands work together as one. Black hands, white hands, free hands, slave hands. Slave hands dig, saw, and break stone, laying the foundation for the president's home. Rented as property, slave hands labor as diggers of stone, sawyers, and bricklayers. Diggers swing axes, break up stone, laying the foundation for the president's home. Jared, Jess, Charles, Lynn, Dick, Bill, Harry, and Jim. Slave hands swing axes 12 hours a day, but slave owners take slave hands' pay. Slave hands sweat under a bright sun. Slave hands toil until each day is done. Chiseling, carving, and transporting stone, slave hands ache, dark skin to white bone. Slave hands blister under a bright, hazy sun. Slave hands toil until each day is done. Sawyers saw blades through logs of oak wood, 7 days a week, where a forest once stood. Alec, Ben, William, Moses, Simon, Peter, Frank, Thomas. Up, down, push, pull. 2 men per pit saw, spraying sawdust until slave hands are raw. Slave hands saw 12 hours a day, but slave owners take slave hands' pay. Slave hands bleed under a hot, hazy sun. Slave hands toil until each day is done. Clay, sand, and water is mixed by young slave hands to create bricks. Nameless, faceless, daughters and son build brick by brick until each day is done. Oyster shells mixed with rock, lime, and sand become mortar for bricks spread by slave hands. Will, Nace, Gerard, Manwill, Liverpool, Leicester, Herbert, Samuel. Slave hands spread mortar 12 hours a day, but slave owners take slave hands pay. Slave hands crack under a hot, hazy sun. Slave hands toil until each day is done. Slave hands learn new trade skills using chisels, saws, hammers, and drills. Skilled hands earn 1 shilling per day, reaching slave hands closer to freedom with pay. Brick by brick, slave hands build. Day by day, slave hands gain skill. Month by month, slave hands toil, planting seeds of freedom in fertile soil. Freedom has a price in a land of liberty, so slave hands toil to no longer be property. Brick by brick, where a forest once stood, grows the president's home made of stone and oak wood. Slave hands build and slave hands save shillings to be free, no longer a slave. Slave hands count shillings with worn fingertips and purchase freedom earned brick by brick. And there's another part in here. It says, why were slaves used to build the White House? I'll read it for you very quickly. Today, we know the White House exists in the big city of Washington, D.C. But when construction began in 1792, it was in the middle of nowhere. Manpower was needed to clear the forest, build the house, and make the all-time fine details inside. Lots of manpower. Local workers, including immigrants from Scotland and other countries, were hired, as well as free blacks, but it wasn't enough. That's where slaves come in. After realizing there weren't enough workers in the population to assist in construction, the governments looked to slaves to round out the workforce. Slave owners from Virginia and Maryland received $5 a month to rent out each slave. After a hard day of work, slaves returned to a small shared hut and ate from the rations of pork, beef, and cornmeal provided to them. Slaves endured a snake-infested island and mosquito swarms to dig up the stones needed for the walls of the house. They endured after hour of cutting and trimming wood, often until their hands were bloodied or deformed. The work was hard on the body, especially the hands. I chose to focus on the hands because of all the work was done at the time when machines didn't even exist to do those same jobs. Hand is also another name for a laborer or worker. Thus, many slaves were needed to turn a wooded forest into our country's most famous address. As the house began to be completed on the outside, skilled workers were needed to finish the inside. Skilled craftsmen from other countries taught the slaves trades such as cabinet making and carpentry. These skills allowed the slaves a chance to earn money and eventually pay for their freedom. Unfortunately, The original White House was burned down by the British on the night of August 24th, 1814. During the most dramatic episode of the War of 1812, it was later rebuilt and restored to its original condition and stands as a reminder of the contribution made by slaves who worked toward freedom, brick by brick, by Charles R. Smith Jr. and illustrated by Floyd Cooper. They do have this book at the ICB bookstore, but I got it at the library. Okay, so let's see. Alrighty, we've got time for one, maybe two more books. Alrighty. When Penny Met Potus. Yes. I wish I could find some pictures of me. I'll try to remember to post the pictures of me talking to then President Obama and Michelle Obama. Okay. When Penny met the Potus, and POTUS is a short word for President of the United States. Yeah, that's what that means. And this book is written by Rachel Ruiz and illustrated by Melissa Manwill. Today is going to be Penny's best day ever. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because today she is going to work with her mom. Penny's mom has a very important job at a big White House. Her boss's name is Potus. Isn't that a funny name? You say it like this, Potus. Potus. Silly, right? Penny hasn't met Potus yet, but she imagines what he might look like. You think the POTUS looks like that? Uh-oh, losing the book. Here, you sit right there. Penny knows POTUS must be really special because he has his own team of Secret Service agents. POTUS coming down the hall. Over. They protect POTUS anytime, any place, even in outer space. Wow, look at all the aliens. Man, I didn't know that we had a Secret Service in outer space. POTUS also has his own airplane to take him wherever he needs to go and a personal chef to make him delicious POTUS sandwiches. The United States of America, Air Force One. Ooh, is that an octopus sandwich? Ew. Ms Tracey, silly. Penny practices what she will say if she ever gets to meet POTUS. Your Majesty, it is an honor. POTUS will invite her back to his house. They will have a tea party. POTUS will ask Penny to help with some important work, and it will be amazing. Hello, Office of the POTUS. As soon as they arrive at her mom's office, Penny asks, when can I meet the POTUS? Maybe later, her mom says. I have to make a few calls first. Penny tries to be patient, but she simply can't wait another minute. She tiptoes out of her mom's office and sets out to find POTUS on her own. I hope the Secret Service doesn't get Penny. The big White House is the people going about their work. Maybe one of them can help Penny find the POTUS. Excuse me, sir, Penny says. Have you seen POTUS? The man shakes his head. Not since I brought in the morning paper and coffee. He's drinking right out of the coffee pot. POTUS. Excuse me, ma'am, Penny says. Have you seen POTUS? The woman shakes her head. Oh, she must be in the rose garden. Not since yesterday. Potus likes to sit here and smell the roses. I bet that garden does smell wonderful. Excuse me, ma'am, Penny says. Have you seen Potus? As a matter of fact, the woman says, I have. You have? Penny asks. Where? Penny, there you are, her mom says. I've been looking for you everywhere. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to make you worry. I just wanted to find Potus, Penny explained. Looks like you found her. Oh. Penny looks at the woman. You're Potus? The woman nods, smiling. Potus is a nickname people use for me, she says. It stands for President of the United States. See, I told you. You're the president? Penny asked. But you're That's right, I'm what is she? A human, Penny says. She feels a little disappointed. But that disappointment turns into excitement when Penny realizes that Potus is a lot like her. In fact, it gets her thinking, penny for Potus. She sure likes the sound of that. There, the end. There it is. When Penny Met the Potus. It's written by Rachel Ruiz and illustrated by Melissa Manwill. One quick thing. The person who writes a story, that is called an author. And the person who does the illustrations or the pictures or the paintings or the drawings or the photos is called an illustrator. Right, exactly. And you know what, kids? You guys can be an illustrator or an author, or you can be both and do your own books. That's right. Just because you're little people does not mean that you can't be an author or an illustrator. True story. We've read books on this on Read to Me, Ms Tracey. Well, I didn't have time to read If I Were President, written by Catherine Steyer and illustrated by Diane DeSalvo. Didn't have time to read about that, but you can go to your library or order it from ICME Bookstore. I didn't get a chance to read Isabella, Girl in Charge. Just How Big Can a Little Girl Dream? And this story is about, it has a lot of historical women. Like, the one thing I didn't like about this book is that it did not list Shirley Chisholm, but it listed Frances Perkins, the first woman cabinet member, Secretary of Labor, Judge Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman appointed to the Supreme Court. And I figure, if they're going back as far as the 1880s, they could have put Miss Shirley Chisholm in there. Sure could have. Susanna Maduro Salter, the first woman mayor, Jeanette Rankin, Nellie Taylor Ross, the first woman governor. Oh, Jeanette Rankin was the first woman elected to Congress. And let's see, I think there was one more in here. Yeah, so they could have put Miss Shirley Chisholm in there. Okay, first African-American congresswoman. Okay, so yes, I didn't have a chance to read that one. I also did not have a chance to read Hillary Rodham Clinton, Some Girls Are Born to Lead by Michelle Markell and illustrated by LeUyen, Pham. Now, this book is a story about the she was the Secretary of State. Did I get that right, you guys? But she was also the First Lady of former President Bill Clinton, William Clinton. Now, that was pretty cool about her. And this was her story about her growing up. Now, and to be fair, I did look for bipartisan books. I couldn't find any. True story. And did I tell you about, I told you about this one, right? I told you about that one. I didn't get a chance to read it. This also, Becoming President. Now, this is also, it has several other books in the series. I got this from the library as well. This was a very interesting book that I thumbed through. And it talks about all the different presidents and their promises and what it takes to be elected. It talks about the Electoral College. It talks about the vice president, all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, this was President Bill Clinton. That was who Hillary Rodham Clinton. This was who she was married to when he was president. Well, they're still married, but listen. Anywho, so this is qualities of a leader, right? So we have lots of cool books about what is it all about. And then I didn't get a chance to read this one either. What is the president's job, right? And this was by Allison Singer. I got this at the library, and this is a reader book. So if you got some little people, maybe during this week when you're watching the inauguration and everything, maybe you guys, your family can talk about what it is to be president. Maybe you can check out some of the books and, doing some at-home study about that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today at the I See Me Bookstore Facebook channel. We are also simultaneously broadcasting at the Read to Me Ms Tracey at YouTube channel. And if you have book requests or Gmail, you can always email me at readtomemstracey@gmail.com. And that's all one, all one word, no spaces in there. But nevertheless, I love bringing books to life. I'm going to step on over here to the YouTube channel, see if anybody's checked in over there. Say hello to those folks. Hey, D. Rochelle. Hey, D. Hi, I'm so glad to have you guys on. And thank you very much. I don't know how to say your name, and I don't want to mess it up. T-U-F-N-E. Oh, I just messed it up. I'm sorry. You have to spell that out for me. I'm sorry. I have a silly American tongue. But I wanted to read one more story, but I didn't have time. And it was having to do with my birthday that was celebrated last week. And this one is called Today is the Day. And it was about a little girl in Kenya orphanage. And this is a picture of her. And because she was an orphan and her parents died when she was little, a lot of the other children in the orphanage, they don't know their actual birthday. So they chose at the orphanage one day to celebrate all the children's birthday on that day. And here's some of them celebrating with their birthday bags and their birthday hats. And their children's extended family, where a lot of times they would come and visit the children, and then they would get presents. So I wanted to read that last week, but I didn't have time, just like I don't have time to read for today. But nevertheless, I thought that was so cool. As a matter of fact, I'll read this. In places where there are so many orphans, their lives are often seen as having little value. People turn away, not out of cruelty, but because resources are so few and the need is so great. We wanted the children at our orphanage to see themselves as having value and to know that their births mattered. So we decided to hold a birthday party, a once-a-year celebration for all our children, whether they knew their date of birth or not. We wanted each child to have a birthday, and we wanted that day to be a joyous celebration. Our first birthday party was held in 2011 for 54 orphans. In 2013, it grew to 115 orphans and 42 other children, a total of 157 children celebrating their birthdays together. Each child at the birthday party receives a loot bag. It is filled with gifts, including pens and pencils, school books, stickers, and a story, treats, stuffed animals, socks, a t-shirt, and sports equipment or a game. Each child also receives a balloon and a party hat, and some years there have been noisemakers, party masks, and bubble makers. And there is cake, not just for the birthday celebrants, but for everybody, cousins, grandparents, aunts, uncles, guardians, and visitors. These cakes are made by our staff in the oven in our residence, one of the few ovens in the entire district. That is called Today is the Day by Eric Walters. Very cute story. I really, really like it. I wish I had time to read it to you guys, but I gotta go. So thank you so much, De Rochelle, and whoever my friend is. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Thank you so much for checking in. Give me a breakdown and spell it. I would love to say hello to you. I so apologize. Ms Tracey, sorry, I'm a goofball. Nevertheless, thank you so much to Miss Charity Lee for checking in. Thank you very much, Miss Cecilia and Alex. Hey, Quinn. Hi, Miss Ann Lynn. And let's see, who else? Who else is out there? Charity Lee, Miss Cecilia and Alex, and Miss Dana. Did I say it right? I hope I said it right. Is it Dana or is it Donna? It could be Donna. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys checking in and everything. I hope you enjoyed the stories. I hope you find time to stop by online with the I See Me bookstore and, giving them a shout out. And thank you for subscribing to the Read to Me Ms Tracey channel. In the meantime, I will see you later. Alligator in a while. Crocodile. Give a hug, ladybug, blow a kiss. Mwah! That's for you, Alex. Jellyfish, I'll see you soon. Big baboon, out the door. Dinosaur, take care. Polar bear, wave goodbye. Butterfly. Don't forget to hug yourself every day, several times a day. Grown-ups, that's for you too. It's your daily vitamin and it practices self-care, okay? If you give yourself love, then you have plenty of love to go around for those who maybe need a little bit of unbirthday. Mwah. Take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Holla. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.